Pardon the sweatiness. Today's been an interesting day so far. This isn't really like some type of lesson. I think it's just something I wanted to share in the journey. So in 2012, 2013, when I had graduated high school, I didn't really want to be anything. I didn't really have any goals. I didn't have a set desire. I think really the only thing I really wanted to experience was peace. I just wanted to experience peace. And I felt like I had spent most of my life kind of being deprived of that. There was always an issue, something that was monumental but was never in my control. So when I attended college, I had applied. Actually, no. What happened was, I think I applied, but I didn't send them out. Like, I didn't do the necessary steps. That's how much I just did not care about my future. So long story short, I ended up having things resolved. More so my mom had things resolved and ended up going to BMCC. And I had initially picked that school because friends of mine were heading to that school as well. And I was like, well, if my friends are going, I'll just go there as well. And I had picked criminal justice as the degree. No real reason, to be honest. Like, I had always wanted to be a lawyer as a child, but when I had gotten older, mid high school, maybe like 15, 16, I started realizing that seemed illogical due to like the time, the money, schooling, like all of those things. They kind of seemed like the entire thing would just take way too long. And it's like at this point, I fucking hate school. So long story short, when it's time to really settle on the course, you have to go into the office. At the time, you had to go into the office and wait for your name to be called and then state the degree that you're gonna, not degree, topic, curriculum, syllabus, whatever you're gonna pursue. So the day before I got there, I was thinking out of nowhere, just so suddenly and so randomly, unprovoked, uninfluenced, just nothing within my bubble even prompted it. And I was just like, I want to be an architect. I want to try that. I want to try architecture. And when I told my mom this, she got really happy because she was like, your aunt is an architect. And I spoke to my aunt like briefly, and she was just telling me like, it's a lot of work, but it's an amazing field and all these other things. And at the time, like, I didn't go through any artistic journey. I didn't even know I had any type of art skills. Like, I didn't draw, I didn't paint, I never made a beat. Like, everything that I found out about myself, it was always kind of prompted by another person, like introducing something, me thinking it's interesting and realizing like I have a knack for this. And it was because like I come from a talented family, which I was unaware of on both sides. This is why it's really important to like really teach people where they come from, their family, so that way they can see themselves in other people and it allows them to move forward with a stronger identity. But I digress. So unprovoked and unprompted, I wanted to explore architecture. And when I went to college the next day and it's time to really select a class or whatever, I was looking at the curriculum and I came across thermodynamics. And I remember being on the phone with somebody and I was just like, man, what the fuck is thermodynamics? I don't know what the fuck that shit is. That shit sound crazy. These are the things that I'm saying. I don't know what the fuck that shit is, but that shit sound crazy. I'm gonna go back to criminal justice. And to be honest, my time with criminal justice was really just like a filler. You know, having a college experience and seeing people kind of exchange ideas in that platform and the quality of information, all of those moments were very, very, I don't even know if I'd say helpful, but I would just say enjoyable. I enjoyed that level of education. Like, I hated high school. What really carried me through high school was all the information that I learned on my own in elementary school, just from like being bored and reading. You know, it's amazing how much your own studies can take you. But when it came to it, you know, during the period of like me going to criminal justice, I was doing very well. My grades were doing very well. I never had an issue with a class at all. There was never a difficulty. And then I remember there was this one class that I actually enjoyed it. I really did like it. There was just this one class where I started skipping it to go to Barnes and Nobles and read Deadpool comic books because I felt like that was a better usage of my time. Going to Barnes and Nobles and reading comic books was a better use of my time than going to this class. I think I only had like 1 or 2 semesters really left, and I would have gotten like my associates in criminal justice, but I just wasn't fucking with it, you know? I just completely abandoned the notion of it. Like, I was like, fuck this shit. Like, and then when I left home to really just like experience life and try to be an adult on my own terms and means outside of like the bubble my mom had really created without realizing it, college was the last thing, like the last concern of mine, you know? And I went on this adventure of like finding myself. And one of the, like, of all the multitude of things that I ended up realizing is like, you know, I'm really a creative individual, an expressive individual. Like, there isn't an artistic field that I can't strive in, because in reality, it's all the same thing. But I started to realize that like that decision of going with something that I knew and was easy robbed me of something that as I got older, I just started to realize like the importance of. You know, it's crazy that like as I get older and I got into fashion, like all the people I admired, they had this architectural background, because there's just, if you can do architecture, you can do anything. And that's not even necessarily like a broad or blanket statement. No, it's literally it's a house of disciplines that can go into any area. Like, you become a graphic designer just by going to architecture school. Tom Ford figured out how to design dresses. Tom Ford went to Parsons, an architectural course, and he took like one fashion class. He went to, I think, Bloomingdale's or Saks Fifth or some shit like that, looked at a dress, turned it inside out, and just looked at it and figured out how to make stuff like that, and just took it from there. I saw that the people who were able to, at the very least, learn in that field they would be able to do whatever it is they wanted to do. I'm recording a video. They'll be able to do whatever they wanted to do. So it's just really like, as I was getting older, I was seeing that, and I was seeing how like, damn, I really robbed myself, because it's like, I wish I could do this. I would have learned it in architecture. I wish I could have did that. I would have learned it in architecture. I wish I could have. It was a lot of I wish I coulds, but it all kind of led to like this one unique road of this thing that I avoided. And then when I kind of set my mind to it in like a clear, concise way, I would buy architecture books, textbooks. I even started to utilize ChatGPT to help create a syllabus for me to learn. I use this really amazing app called Obsidian. So essentially I had learned how to learn, and I had gotten all the necessary materials needed to learn. And I did nothing with it. Instead, what ended up happening was, as I was starting to teach myself this, I started to get this thought of like, damn, I don't know if I'll understand this. So maybe to like ease my stress about this, like I'll smoke and study, or I'll smoke and I'll just calm myself down, and I'll smoke a blunt, I'll smoke a spliff, and I'll just try to like get through this. And what ended up happening was, at first, yeah, I was studying and I was smoking, and then I got bored and I just kept smoking, and days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and there was no progression on that. So sometime, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe more, much more actually, I'd say about 5 weeks ago, I had just reached a point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna turn 30 years old in October. And I was looking at everything I did, and I was like, there's a lot of good things, but the bad things disturb me, and I need to make sure that I don't bring this into my 30s. Like, I'm not just repeating these patterns. I'm not repeating these behaviors. So so I started to do things differently. I started to work out again. You know, I started to hold myself accountable. I just really snapped the fuck out of it. And I really started to break myself down and study myself, and start applying all the wisdom that I had learned throughout the years. You know, that's why, like, I can really give you so many different pieces of information, but I will always say that, like, whatever you need to do is typically an external action. If you do that consistently, you'll yield the greatest amount of change. But what makes today very interesting is because I watched a video of, I forget his last name, his first name is Martel. And Martel was telling a story about how his father attended ASU at like 40 something years old, because he wanted to make sure that his son could see that whatever he sets his mind to, he can do. So I'm hearing this, and it's like, Wow. At 40 something? College? Just to show your son that he could do something great? How amazing is that? So I looked up the college, and and I went to see if they had an architectural course, and they did. And I submitted my information, and I got in touch with the college recruiter. And, you know, they asked me a few questions, and I asked them questions just to kind of get a gist of, like, you know, if I fucked around and applied, like, what would I need to do, really? So he gave me the information. Spoke to him again. He's like, you know, what do you think? You want to do this? I'm like, you know what? Let's try. I didn't put too much thought into it because for me, I was like, I've thought enough. Let me just shoot my shot, see what happens. And application done, boom. College transcript found and sent, boom. I was getting a lot of like run around with my high school because my high school was really ghetto. But I found a way to like get in touch with the right people, had the situation handled, boom, sent out the information. And today I found out that my application was accepted and that I'm officially an architecture student. And I cried when I read that text message. I really did. I cried. Because I didn't realize like how much I truly regretted the decision I made and how insane it is that I'm now able to revisit that on my own terms as a completely different person with a completely different appreciation and perspective for that subject, for that field. And I think I just really wanted to make sure I captured this moment as like being unperfect, sounds and interruptions and all. Like, this is the start of something for me. And I really hope that other people have this moment of like, oh shit, I actually did it. And it might just be like an application, you know, it's like, you know, you just applied to college and you got in, big whoop. Man, when you don't even think you deserve to be in a room, you don't even deserve to be, when you don't feel like you belong in spaces and you find out that you do belong. And it's not you having to convince yourself. It's finally something external saying that, yeah, you belong here. It's a crazy feeling. So this awkward, weird video that I'm making right now, I hope it helps somebody. Because there really isn't anything you can't do. There was nothing in my way all these years to go back to school for this, you know? All the times that I tried to do other things, they were just like, I guess like hollow replacements. Like honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know like the hows and the whys. I just know it's just on time. You know, I feel like I'm the type of man that I need to be right now to be able to take this moment that I've been given and actually like excel in it, you know? And shit, I don't know if I'm gonna excel. I might end up struggling. You know, that was a fear of mine, that I'd be too mentally incompetent to really get into it. But you remember as if you watched it, the video before. It was called How the Work Works on You. And this is one of those situations where I'm like really ecstatic, not just because of, you know, checking boxes and doing certain things, but it's more like the person I've always envisioned myself to be, like mentally and stuff like that. If I'm not that now, I will be after this experience. And I don't think I'm gonna enjoy all of it. I don't think it's gonna be easy. I don't think it's gonna be a walk in the park, but it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be so worth it, every bit of it, because it's going to align with like whatever God put me here to do. Whatever God put me here to do, He obviously called me to, if not be an architect, at least learn and get the skills like one. Because there's no reason for this to like haunt my spirit as much as it did. Like, I did not care about not finishing I didn't care about being a college dropout. I didn't. It didn't bother me not one bit. I forget all the time I didn't finish college. I forget all the time. I forget all the time. It does not bother me. It doesn't mean anything to me. But this opportunity to proverbially run it back, it means a lot to me. And I wanted to share this moment. I want to share this moment because if there's something that you're thinking about doing, for the love of God, please do that shit. Shoot your fucking shot. Don't wait, bro. Don't wait, sis. Don't wait. Don't wait. Just do that shit, please. Please. You know, turn into somebody you could be proud of. Yeah.